Welcome to SVGTV News for Friday, February 2nd, 2018. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Speaker of the House of Assembly Jomo Thomas is receiving support from opposition Senator Kay Backus after admitting that he erred in his ruling not to allow debate of a no-confidence motion against the government brought forward by the opposition. The Speaker's admittance of an error was made in a comment on a Facebook user page in reference to the matter. He has been quoted as saying, "A similar motion will meet a much enlightened Jomo if I am Speaker. I do not believe we made the right decision yesterday." That's on Wednesday, when he instead allowed a government amendment to the motion from no confidence to confidence to take precedent. Though he was criticized for his decision by members of the opposition who did not return to Parliament that afternoon, Opposition Senator Kay Backus today commended Thomas for admitting he made an error. In an interview with SVGTV News, Backus said the motion was set to highlight what she described as mismanagement of the country's affairs, as well as the silence of the finance minister in a scandal involving former fashion model Yogi Farrell. Backus accused Prime Minister Gonsalves of hijacking the Constitution in Parliament on Wednesday by misinterpreting the rules.
So from day one, we objected. It was a sad day for St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Wednesday, the 31st of January. Incidentally, to the date, it was the day that 10 years ago, Dr. Gonsalves was served, he was filed, the rape case was filed against him. To the date, 31st of January, 2008. And there again, on the 31st of January, 2018, we had a rape of our Constitution. Section 47 of our Constitution was raped when Dr. Gonsalves presented a confidence motion, completely overturning our no confidence motion, which is enshrined by the Constitution, and argued incorrectly to the Speaker that he had a right to do it. So I am extremely happy that our Speaker reflected, because he's a lawyer. And when he reflected on the law, I'm extremely happy that he has now said that he made an error in permitting them to argue their confidence motion, and that if we were to come back with our no confidence motion, his decision would be different. I'm happy for that. That, as I said, to some extent removes the stain that the argument put on St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Backus also expressed disappointment with news that the wife of the finance minister has now been appointed as the acting executive director of the Finance Services Authority.
To protest the elevation of his wife, even at this time, to a very important position, controlling the Financial Intelligence Unit, with powers to go to the court and get bank orders behind your back, to seize your bank account, to look into your bank account. It is a very, very serious issue that is going on in this country. The Gonsalves are controlling our country. How could the Minister of Finance wife be also involved in FIU? The lead FIU. Therefore, how could the FIU ever investigate anything about the accounts of the Argyle International Airport when you're the Minister of Finance and have to give account? If there's anything wrong with it, I'm not saying there is, but anything to do with accounts, FIU is a person that the Financial Intelligence Unit is supposed to investigate if there's anything wrong. Are we setting up ourselves for another Sion Marshall and wife incident? I do not think it is proper to have the Minister of Finance wife in charge.
Backus called the defiance of the Finance Minister Camilla Gonsalves to speak on certain allegations against him as disrespectful, and made a call for persons to attend a protest action by the NDP scheduled to take place on Monday at 3 p.m. outside Parliament.
I want to invite all Vincentians to come out to the House on Monday afternoon from 3 o'clock to protest the continuing silence of Camilla Gonsalves, Honorable Camilla Gonsalves. It is not just about Yogi Farrell per se. It is about a young lady who is making allegations of several perverse, severe sexual abuses involving the name of the sitting Minister of Finance, who chooses to remain silent. That is unacceptable. The intimidation, the lack of accountability, the total breakdown of our economic support, the high deficit. Let us all come out and peacefully protest. There's a new day in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Time's up, ULP. Time's up, Dr. Gonsalves.
And the NDP Central Leeward candidate in the 2015 general election, Benjamin Exeter, is encouraging Vincentians to be patient for the ruling in the election petitions case. Exeter, who was speaking at the opposition NDP's public meeting Wednesday night, applauded the people of Central Leeward for ensuring that issues surrounding alleged misconduct in the 2015 elections were highlighted.
Central Leeward produced the bravest and the strongest and the most resilient people in St. Vincent, because we are fighting today for the St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Because of Central Leeward people, we still have hope. I'm here to tell you that the petitions are still alive and well. I gave you a promise 2 years ago that I will stick with you and I'll fight with you. And I'm here today to tell you that the fight continues. We waited 17 years for this moment, 17 long years. Well, the two has been really, really tough.
According to Exeter, he is eagerly awaiting the court ruling.
But we can wait a few more weeks. We're hoping to have the ballot boxes inspected in January or February. Now January is gone, so the window is closing, which means a few more weeks to go. Could you endure a few more weeks? Could you endure to see what's in those ballot boxes? Could you wait until the day comes when we kick these bums out of office? Time is close, my friends. Time is close.
The opposition NDP has claimed that the discrepancies in the 2015 general elections resulted in their loss. They brought elections petitions before the court. The latest ruling is pending, with the due date being January to February 2018, according to Justice Esco Henry. Some 98 new positions will be created this year in the public service as a means of enhancing the delivery of government services to the Vincentian public. That's according to Finance Minister Camilla Gonsalves in his presentation of the 2018 estimates earlier this week.
6 additional posts have been allocated under the Ministry of National Security. The manpower of the police service has been increased by a net of 40 constables to ensure that we have sufficient boots on the ground to bolster our efforts in citizen security, safety, and reduction of crime. Also, 5 additional immigration officers have been provided to strengthen the department's ability to properly service the traveling public at the Argyle International Airport. The Ministry of Health and the Environment has been allocated 35 posts to strengthen hospital, community health, and mental health services. 12 posts have been created within the Ministry of Finance, mainly to enhance the capacity of Customs, the Customs and Excise Department, and as we mentioned, some additional staff related to the Argyle International Airport passenger processing.
Outlining that 48 cents of every dollar of revenue collected in 2018 will be spent on the compensation of public service employees, Minister Gonsalves called on all public servants to lift their game.
This is significant. As a government, we have consistently implemented measures to improve the material condition of all workers, including public servants. In 2018, all must continue to lift their game. While we are proud of our excellent performance within the public servants and within the ranks of the public service, we all have to consider what we can do better and what is within our own responsibility to raise the level of productivity within the public service, to provide real value to the citizens who pay that 48 cents on every dollar in your salaries and wages.
The finance minister further pointed out that $60 million have been allotted to the payment of pensions this year.
$60 million. This figure represents a 7.6% or $4.4 million increase over the $56 million provided in the 2017 estimates for pensions. This rate of increase outpaces the rate of growth in the budgeted current expenditure for 2018 very, very significantly. It is indisputable that this matter of pensions must be tackled and placed on a sustainable footing. If we do not, it will remain a significant threat to the future stability of our public finances.
Loan repayment efforts, along with an $88.1 million debt forgiveness from the government of Venezuela, has resulted in a decline in this country's external debt. The disclosure was made by Finance Minister Camilo Gonçalves, who expressed gratitude to the government and people of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela for the selfless act of kindness and solidarity. Gonçalves pointed out that the loan which was forgiven was incurred for the construction of the Argyle International Airport, which became operational on February 14, 2017.
The external debt went down as several loans were repaid during the period. Among those are loans outstanding to the Alba Bank, which declined by $88.1 million on the account of $81 million of debt forgiveness granted by the government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. With this loan forgiveness, the debt that we have on the Argyle International Airport is only $320 million. I want to thank most sincerely the former Minister of Finance and our current Prime Minister for his selfless work, his creative work, his heroic work in securing this debt relief, not only for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but indeed securing debt relief for other ALBA member countries across the Eastern Caribbean.
Minister of Transport and Works Julian Francis has signaled his ministry's intention to ease traffic congestion in the Honnestville area by allowing one-way traffic across the tarmac of the now decommissioned E.T. Joshua Airport. Contributing to the 2018 estimates presentation, Senator Francis said that the cost for the intended plan is not included in the ministry's estimates, but however assured the public that the project should not be very costly.
Within a reasonable time, restore traffic onto the bridge at the E.T. Joshua Airport. It is not mentioned in the estimates. It is not costed in the estimates. We don't think it is going to be of significant cost. We have done an assessment of the bridge, and it is structurally sound for single lane traffic and no large 18-wheelers. Traffic into town on mornings will have access through there, and traffic out of town on afternoons the other way.
Senator Francis said one issue relating to the new road access is under consideration.
The thing is, what has to be looked at closely, crossing the lane by Graves, which we will bring it out, is going to have a backup. And we are wondering whether that backup will be greater than it is now on afternoons with the roundabout, Massey and Graves. So it's something we have to seriously look at. So I'm not saying it's going to be done next week, but we are looking at it and get it done as soon as possible.
Diabetes is responsible for a number of deaths and significant loss of productivity here in SVG. And with this in mind, the Ministry of Health says it welcomes the signing of a memorandum of understanding by the government of SVG and Taiwan, which would aid in controlling the disease. That's according to Minister of Health Luke Brown as he spoke at the signing ceremony on Thursday at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs conference room. Highlighting some statistics, Minister Brown pointed out that diabetes is the third leading cause of deaths here in SVG.
It was ranked as the third leading cause of death in the period 2015 to 2016. So you have a breakdown of that time period, 2012 to 2016. So in the 2012 to 2014 period, it was the second leading cause of death. And in the 2015 to 2016 period, it was the third leading cause of death. And in particular, in 2016, we had 86 or 9.3% of persons dying having diabetes as an underlying problem. So you would get a very good sense of the problem that this represents, and having gotten that sense, you'd have a full appreciation of why we are here today to sign this very important agreement.
Minister Brown welcomed the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding with Taiwan, which will not only boost the capacity of the healthcare service to control diabetes here, but also assist with primary health care.
We're going to assist in planning effective integrated care strategies and practices on the prevention and control of diabetes, strengthen the ability of integrated diabetes care in health facilities, improve the health self-management of community people for the prevention and control of diabetes. This is tied to something that we want to do in general for the renewal of primary health care, because where diabetes is concerned and where non-communicable diseases, more broadly speaking, are concerned, it's important for us to pay attention to the old adage that prevention is better than cure. So this is going to be reflected in our approach going forward, and we are very happy to have such a notable partner in our project for fighting this disease and seeking to eliminate it or at least minimize its impact on the population of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The health minister praised the government and people of Taiwan for their continued contribution to SVG's healthcare development.
Now, the agreement has a primary objective, and as that primary objective, it is to assist the government. Taiwan is going to assist the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines with the fight against diabetes. The parties to the agreement, I just want you to have some of the salient points, are on the one hand, the government of the Republic of China through its International Cooperation and Development Fund and the McKay Hospital. And on the other hand, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, represented by the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment. The budget for the project is just over $2 million US, the bulk of which, you might even say almost all of which, is going to be provided by the government of the Republic of China and Taiwan, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines would make a modest contribution by comparison in different arrangements of in-kind arrangements.
Also speaking at the signing ceremony of the MOU was Minister of Finance Camila Gonçalves, who said more must be done to ensure the secure and instant transfer of documents in a secure and efficient way in the government service. Minister Gonçalves stated that SVG's government service has issues in relation to security and efficiency in relation to the transfer of documents and data, which must be corrected if the nation is to truly embrace e-governance.
And sharing between and among the ministries and in the public service have not advanced into the 21st century. They are somewhere trapped between colonialism and the 21st century, but they haven't arrived in the 21st century yet. And if we want to be a government that embraces the concept of a digital government, and if we want to embrace the concept of e-governance, electronic governance, we have to do better with basic things like documents. We have to be able to send documents securely. We have to be able to send documents instantaneously. We have to be able to retrieve documents. We have to be able to cooperate in the editing and transmission of data in a manner that is efficient, that is reliable, and that is secure.
The finance minister said the electronic document and record management system and the PKG card system will be piloted with data from Foreign Affairs, Service Commissions, Finance, Customs, Inland Revenue, and the Treasury Departments. He highlighted how the systems will boost the government's capacity to provide secure and efficient document transfer.
I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but that will be the initial core. And we will refine there a system by which employees in those departments get smart cards, public key infrastructure cards for government members that will have data on their cards about who they are, that will allow them to sign documents digitally, that will allow them to enter buildings, that will allow them to, well, maybe you can see this document, but not that document, because this one is more secure or more classified than that one. And will facilitate the free flow of secure information between and among the ministries of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and will lead to the efficiency, greater efficiency and reliability of information therein.
Several primary and secondary school students across the country have been displaying their scientific and creative skills in this year's VINLEC Science Fair, taking place at the Methodist Church Hall. Speaking with SVGTV News on Thursday, Public Relations Officer of the Science Teachers Association, Sirita Harry, said the fair is aimed at fostering a love for science among students and expressed satisfaction with the level of participation and presentation of projects this year.
The main idea behind the science fair is to get students enthusiastic and excited about the sciences. Science is normally seen as a very difficult area. Certain stigma is attached to the sciences. So it is the goal and the objective of the National Science Fair to encourage and foster the growth of our young people through science and technology. The theme for this year's science fair was Go Creative, Do Science. We saw a number of persons entering the science fair, particularly in the open category, and that is something we're truly excited about. The students, they really stuck to the theme. We saw a lot of impressive projects from them. Some of them went above and beyond what was expected of the typical students, and we really commend their efforts.
Coordinator of the science fair, Kamola Laborde, highlighted some of the changes made to this year's fair.
For 400 students taking part, we have over 300 projects, just about 310. And this year we had some changes where we reduced the category. So we went from 16 categories to 10 categories. Also, what I've noticed is that we had an increased participation from schools in the leeward side. So we had like Peter School, Peter Bodell Secondary, we had Chumuka, we had Westwood Methodist. We also had Bethel High School taking part this year. So I was pleased to see increased participations from schools, especially in the leeward side. Yes, there was a lot of creativity coming out, so I was impressed with a lot of the projects where the students went above and beyond to create new ideas. The Go Creative category, that was very impressive. The food science category and agriculture, those two categories stood out in my mind.
Showing interest in the creativity and skills of the students was Deputy Chief Education Officer Elizabeth Walker, who noted that the students have shown extensive creativity in presenting solutions to some of the problems being faced in SVG.
And I think they have offered worthwhile solutions to a lot of these problems that as a ministry and as an island, as government, attention can be placed on what they are, so their suggestions and how we can use, even in their simple way, the ideas so that we can solve problems. One that caught my attention was the congestion coming into Kingston, done by a child from the Mustique Primary School, offering real an alternative to that problem. So the ideas are good. The children are very creative, innovative, and I think that the St. Vincent and the Grenadines is in good stead with the young people of the various schools present here this morning.
Our news team spoke with some of the students participating in the fair.
The idea was behind my project because one day I was stuck in traffic for over an hour, so I came up with the idea, why don't they have an extra road? Well, coming from Villa Lodge, instead of going right, you go left, down the shoreline, then you will go behind Arnesville Stadium and across the old Arnesville Airport, and then you will go onto a flyover, into a tunnel, and by the cruise ship terminal, and by the end up
The project is a countertop self-water project. Inside of the plant, it takes up the water into the soil and water itself. They constantly have backache or something. They don't have to get up anymore to water the plants and plants.
Aquaponics is basically the combination of aquaculture, which is raising a fish, and hydroponics, which is growing plants without soil. So the pump pumps the dirty wastewater up to the plants. Then the plant's roots absorb all of the nutrients, cleaning the water for the fish. When the water reaches to a certain level, it overflows and is drained back to the fish tank, and then the process repeats.
The purpose of the robot is to seek entertainment, medical uses, and job applications, and so on, so that we could put the robots at the risk instead of mankind.
We are doing a AC cooler fan. We turn it on from behind of the back, and the wires which are hooked up turns the blade and the cool air comes out.
So it's a fan that compresses air.
Yes.
Itself?
Yes. It is really because we know St. Vincent is a small population and not many of us are able to afford electricity, and we know normal fans work with electricity. So for our fan, all you need to do is buy a battery, take it on and off.